Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to do another review from Slovenia, and this was a beer that was very kindly sent to me by one of my followers, Davor Širet. So a huge thank you to Davor for sending this beer up to me. He's a huge hophead, I guess you would say, basically, and he really wanted me to try some of the smaller Slovenian craft breweries, so a big thank you to him for sending the box of beer up. So for this one we are going to go to a new brewery, Pivovarna Hopsbrew, and we're having a taste of their IPA tonight. This one comes in at 6% ABV and it should be quite nice. When I checked it out on Rate Beer it was rated 81 overall. So it should be pretty nice. This is quite a prolific brewery from what I understand, and Davor was saying that this is one of his favourite beers that they do. So yeah, always cool to try new beers from new breweries and new places. Of course, Slovenia is a country, of course, that's really known more for its winemaking than for its beer, but in my experience, the beer I have tried from there has been really quite good. They're a big kind of hop producer as well, but obviously they're a small country, so there's not such a big volume of things produced there, but you know, the stuff that they do is great, so if you get the chance to try some Slovenian beers, I do recommend that you do. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Pivovarna Hopsbrew. The very first time I'm trying one of their beers. Of course, there's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. I will make one for the Slovenian beers that I'm reviewing as well, since there's more of them now. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching in Slovenia. But your input and your support to the channel is always hugely appreciated. It's always great to hear from you guys, so do get in touch with some recommendations and other things. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Pivovarna Hopsbrew then. So Pivovarna Hopsbrew are based in a small village called Selo pre Ihanu in Domžale in Slovenia. It's a little bit to the north of the capital city, Ljubljana. But the brewery was founded in early 2016 by Maxim and Ekaterina Boldainev, who were actually from Russia originally, quite close to the Chinese border from what I gather. But Maxim had previously worked selling construction machinery, and later the couple owned a beer shop together. I think it was 2005 to 2007 they actually owned the beer shop. But they actually later developed an interest in how beer was made, and this led to a lot of reading and of home brewing guides, internet research, and Maxim actually also spent some time studying brewing in Germany as well. So it really, as is the case with many people, you know, you get into it a little bit and then it becomes a huge thing for you. But apparently they travelled Europe quite a bit, and also to the US, to kind of think about where they would like to have a brewery. But they decided to settle on Slovenia after they went there and visited it. They felt the language was very close to Russian, of course, so it would be easy for them to learn, and they did like the beer culture that was already there in Slovenia as well. But before they actually moved to Slovenia, they did brew a little bit with Pivovarna Maligrad, and they say that they've developed a very close relationship with these guys. They do consider the owners of that brewery quite close friends these days as well. But a very interesting thing about this brewery is that they actually produce their beers as cask ales, you know, the old English kind of pump things with the slightly less carbonation, and that's quite interesting. That's very uncommon from what I gather outside of Scotland, England and Ireland, I think. So that's a really quite interesting point about this brewery. And they also use liquid yeast as well, which is quite an interesting point. But as Davor told me, he thinks this is a very kind of up and coming craft brewery in Slovenia, and they are quite prolific as well. I think they've brewed about 30 beers, and they're just about to celebrate, or maybe by the time this video airs they will have just celebrated their first anniversary. So yeah, this is a really kind of just brand new thing on the market, so it's really cool to be able to review this for you on the channel. So once again, a huge thank you to Davor for sending this up to me. So if you want to keep up to date with the things that are going on at Pivovarna Hopsbrew, do check out the links in the description below to their Facebook page and stuff like that. As I said, they're quite prolific, so you can keep up to date with all these things. But let's actually get on to the tasting section of this video now. I'm really looking forward to this because, as I say, always cool to try new beers from new places. So this one's a 6% IPA. There wasn't really anything else listed about this beer that I could find on the Facebook page or anything. All it says is it's 60 IBUs, 6%, and we can tell you that it's an IPA, so it should be really nice. So there you can see the nice symbol on this one. I do like that, the hop cone flavour, that's really nice. It's just a plain bottle cap in this one, but it looks absolutely lovely, you know, it's really nicely presented. Quite simple, but nicely done. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Davor told me that I should be careful with this bottle though because of the way the beer's conditioned, so let's just see how we get on. But yeah, actually seems to be behaving itself quite well. So let's get this guy out and into the glass, and I tell you, when you're just pouring this out, you can smell some of the lovely tropical fruits coming out of this beer. It does smell really quite nice. So it's poured exactly as you would expect from an IPA, a lovely kind of bright orangey amber colour. Just look at that, quite hazy as well. It looks a bit more yellow on the camera than it actually is. If I hold up to the light, it is a kind of richer orange. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. And the head, incidentally, is just a wee sort of quarter finger of a very frothy white head. It looks absolutely lovely, this beer. And the tropical fruit aromas that you're getting off this is really nice. So let's take a little closer look at the aroma then. Oof, that's nice. It actually smells really peachy to me. There's a lot of orange and kind of tangerine note coming out of this beer as well. You can smell a little bit of grapefruit just underpinning the beer, but definitely, you know, the nose on this one really leans towards the fruit. There's no doubt about that. So there's a little bit of grapefruit underpinning the beer, like I said, but it's quite an orangey, sort of tangerine citrus that's coming out of this one. A bit of peachy character as well, I think. I do wonder if there's some citra hop in here. It does smell like you're getting these lighter tropical fruits, you know, the lychee and maybe a little bit like gooseberry or something like that. You're getting these lighter tropical notes that are typical of the citra hop. But for me it does smell quite orangey and tangerine, so I'm wondering, there's maybe either Pacifica in this one or Amarillo. It could even be Mandarina Bavaria, right enough, for the more tangerine notes. But it definitely has a lot of this kind of nice hoppy character to it. It's really leaning towards these lighter tropical fruit notes, like I was saying. But underneath that you can pick up like a little tiny bit of a sort of pine raisin, but to me it comes across as more floral. Yeah, more of a floral character from this one, I would say. Maybe even slightly herbal as well. And then underneath that, of course, you're getting the kind of typical sort of biscuity and bready malts from the beer. But it smells, you know, it smells exactly as you'd expect a nice IPA too, but definitely leans more towards these lovely kind of tropical fruits. As I say, I think there's some citra in there, and maybe some Amarillo or Pacifica, maybe even like Mandarina Bavaria. And maybe there's a little bit of the Slovenian hops. The Slovenian hops, of course, do tend to be like Dana and things like that, and Styrian Goldings. They do tend to be a little bit kind of like German noble hops. They have a similar aroma to that. But yeah, it smells really nice. So let's tuck into this beer then. So this is the IPA from Pivovarna Hopsbrew in Slovenia. Once again, a huge thank you to Davor for sending me up this beer. Na zdravje. Ooh, that's pretty nice. It's actually a very easy drinking beer, this one. That's the first impression you're going to get from this. Yeah, I mean, the thing you're going to notice about this one, it's not very aggressive with its hoppy character. It's just a nice, well-blended and easy drinking beer. This is the sort of IPA you want to drink during the summer. It's just got that lovely kind of refreshing character to it. It's got quite a wet mouthfeel, I'd say, but it's really quite nicely done, this. Yeah, as I always say, just sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let the whole mouth adjust to the beer before you actually can analyse the flavour too much. But this is really quite nice. So yeah, the malt base in this one, as you'd expect, as I always say, the malt base comes out right in the middle of your palate. So you've got this bready character that just blankets the middle of your palate there. It's a bit thicker than pale malt. It is more of a kind of white bready sort of thing. On top of that, you've got some nice biscuity caramel in there. And it's just, I would say it's more biscuity. It does have a little bit of a grainy character. As the flavour progresses into the aftertaste, you can pick up a little bit of this sort of, this kind of slightly grainy, almost dry, kind of toasty, grainy character. But there is a little bit of biscuity, syrupy sweetness in there. There's a little bit of richer caramel too. But of course, the focus of this beer is definitely the hops. This is good though. If you get the chance to try this, give it a go, because it really is quite nice. It's definitely an easy drinking IPA, this one. So in terms of the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of the palate I'm getting a little tiny bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward, it's more, for me, it's more floral and actually quite herbal. It's got a nice sort of herbal character on the sides of the palate, and it's a mix between floral and herbal. There's maybe even a tiny little bit of a slightly spicy character. to the floral and herbal thing that's going on in this one. And around the front curve of the palate, it's kind of lighter and grassy, and of course just behind that front curve of the palate, that's where you get this little oily bubble where all the nice fruity esters come out of the beer. Yeah, this is nice. You know, definitely for me, the grapefruit notes that I was picking up in the aroma, they're not so prominent in the flavour actually. For me, it's really quite, it does lean more towards the citrusy side of things than the grapefruit. Grapefruit, of course, is very noticeable for the quite dark and quite, you know, just kind of pungent flavour that it has. But for me, this one really leans more towards the kind of lighter citrus side of things, and it's a lot of these lighter tropical fruit notes that are coming out a bit more into the aftertaste. So I think initially it's coming in with a little bit of that sort of tangerine orange thing, but that really kind of quickly fades, and it's more of a sort of peachy and kind of lychee flavour that's coming out of this one. As I say, I think it's these kind of citra hoppy fruits that are coming out in this a little bit later. Yeah, I would stick with that. It's orangey in the beginning, and then it moves on to these lighter sort of citra tropical fruit notes. I think there's a little bit of peachy character in there. I don't think really mango, to be honest. I think there's maybe a teeny little bit of like apricot or something, and it's lychees as well. I'm really getting this kind of nice light lychees flavour from this beer as well. But as you progress into the aftertaste, I can feel the beer just becoming a little bit more bitter in the aftertaste, and some of the floral character just starting to push its way out. But you know, the flavours in this beer blend together really well. That's the whole point of this one. It's not going to be aggressive with the hoppy bitterness. It's not going to be overly sweet from the malt. It's just meant to be a nice kind of quite sessionable beer, this, and certainly you could drink one or two of these in the bar. I have to admit, I would love to try it on tap and just see if it gets a slightly more oily mouthfeel than it already has. But it's really quite nice. It'd be cool just to see the biscuity malt on this come out that little bit more. But it's a really nice, easy drinking IPA, this one. It actually is, from what I remember, the last one I tried, the last IPA I tried from Slovenia, was it was the third pill from Pivovarna Pelican, and it does seem to have the same feel as that. So that makes me wonder if you know, this kind of light, quite easy drinking thing is what's expected of IPAs in Slovenia. We need to try another couple actually to see if that's true, but it does certainly have that same kind of easy drinking feel to it that the Pivovarna Pelican one had. But it's a really quite nice beer, this. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, and you know, Davor's picked me a really quite nice IPA to try on this video for you. So in terms of recommending this in comparison to other beers, as I say, the only one I can really compare it to is the third pill from Pivovarna Pelican. But it's just nice if you like your IPAs to be quite well blended together, not to be too overly sweet, and to have a nice little bit of floral character to it. It reminds me a lot of some of the German beers I've had. The hoppy character, the sort of floral aspects to the hop on this one, and the grassiness are quite subtle and really well done, and I think that's going to be a trait, if I'm not mistaken, of what to expect from a Slovenian IPA. So hopefully I can try more in the fairly near future for you. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say this one's it's fairly mid-bodied. It's got quite a wet mouthfeel to it, just a little bit of oily character. I would love to try this on the actual cask and see what difference that makes to the mouthfeel, because it probably would make it just that little bit thicker, and of course that means that the malt flavours would come out just a little bit more. So it'd be interesting to try it like that. But the carbonation is quite moderate on this one. It gives you a nice little bit of a prickle, and that's probably what makes the beer so kind of as easy drinking as it is. You've got a little bit of hoppy bitterness from this one, but overall it's quite smooth. Initially it starts off a little bit bitter, and there's a wee bit more bitterness comes out as you move into the aftertaste. There's a juicy fruity character to this one. The malt base has a little bit of sweetness, but as I said, there's a little bit of that kind of grainy dryness as well. But overall, this is a really quite nice IPA. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. If you've tried the Pivovarna Pelican third pill, this one to me, it comes across as being quite similar in feel. But in terms of recommending it more widely, if you like a nice easy drinking IPA that's not too aggressive on the hoppy bitterness, it's fruity and juicy, and it has just a little bit of malty sweetness and a good little bit of sort of floral herbal character going on, that's what this beer is going to give you. So if that's your thing, give this one a go if you come across it. I don't think this is too widely available outside of Slovenia yet. I'm filming this review for you in January 2017, but maybe over the coming years, if you're watching this video in the future, this beer will be a bit more widely available. But as I say, always cool to try new beers from different places, and a huge thank you once again to Davor for sending this beer to me. Really cool to try this one, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the review. So yeah, thank you for watching my beer review. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. Please do give me some recommendations of some other Slovenian breweries that you'd like to check out, and check out all my usual social media, but make sure you support your local craft breweries. If you haven't tried some Slovenian beers already, I do recommend that you do, because they seem to be producing some pretty nice stuff. But you will see some more Slovenian reviews, because Davor sent me 5 or 6 beers, so you can look forward to those, and I'll catch you very soon with more beer reviews. So this one was the IPA from Pivovarna Hopsbrew in Slovenia. Na zdravje, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.